Welcome back, you guys, as we are finishing up week 18 and headed into the playoffs. My name is Jive Turk, and I have my co-host with me. Let's be Frank. Hi, Frank.
Hey, man. Yeah, awesome. I had a great weekend last weekend on picks. I crushed it, man. Yeah, for you, all of you guys that joined us last week or watched the video last week, hopefully you guys dropped your picks in the comment section, and hopefully you guys are going to do that again for this weekend's game and drop your picks. Who's going to end up winning this first round of the playoffs? I would love to hear that. I'm sure Drive Turkey would love to hear that as well, and maybe you can beat me in my picks this week. So we'll explore that a little bit, but we'll talk first about a little bit about last week and how things shaped up and why I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be Super Bowl champions this year.
So let me get this straight. You were saying that Buffalo is going to win the Super Bowl. Something Jim Kelly could never do, but gone there many times.
Yep. I called it 2 weeks ago, I believe. Was it 2 weeks ago I said?
Yep.
I had a good feeling that the Buffalo Bills would be in the Super Bowl. After last week, I am convinced the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl.
Okay. I mean, and look what they did. And let's just say, let's look what they did when they opened the game. They ran it all the way back.
I knew they would. I knew they would beat the Patriots by double digits. I knew they were going to have an explosive game. It is going to be electrifying in Buffalo, even though they're going to be playing in other stadiums at neutral fields. I guarantee you the majority of the fans in those stadiums will be decked out in Buffalo Bill gear, and they'll be cheering on the Bills. The Bills are going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to win it all.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here from Let's Be Frank. Now, me, as the homer that I am.
The Sentinel says Bowl 57 will be the Bills versus 49ers.
and yeah, let's just highlight that and show everyone that, hey, yeah, they're online with Let's Be Frank that's saying that the Bills and the 49ers are going to make it a Super Bowl. That actually would be a very good, I believe, Super Bowl because due to the fact that San Francisco having the dominant defense they don't have the veteran at quarterback. So, I mean, it could almost counterbalance. I mean, and due to the fact because the Bills don't have such a strong defense due to the fact of them losing Von Miller throughout the year and having a seasoned quarterback as Josh Allen, I think that might be a pretty good pick.
It would be a good matchup to watch. Purdy, though, a lot of people slept on Purdy. Even you did the first time you did a video on Purdy. You're like, no film on him. And if people watched his college ball, I said, no, there's something about that dude. You better watch out.
I mean, retrospect. I mean, let's frame the context, okay, on Purdy real quick. Since we're on the 49ers right now, okay, let's frame the context, okay. When he showed up and he played in that Monday night game against Tom Brady, right? Mm-hmm. He only had 2 other games before he played in Iowa State. So where did you and he didn't play both those 2 games. He didn't play the whole game. So where are you saying, yeah, did I sleep on him? I mean, but you're in Kyle Shanahan's offense. What is there not to be good about?
Exactly. So you slept on the dude. The dude was going to do well in that offense.
All right.
Shanahan plays a good quarterback offense that will be tailored to the strengths of whoever is under center. And that's what he brings out the best in his quarterbacks that you see play for him.
Okay.
So anyway, it's the coaching, it's the system. It's not Purdy, but it's the system that he benefits playing under.
Is it the system or is it the coach?
It's both.
Okay. So
both. Because there is no system without Kyle Shanahan.
And without Kyle Shanahan, there's no Mike Shanahan.
Right.
So, we're gonna wrap up week 18 and give me your surprise game of the week that you were like, hey, this was the game that it was a no-brainer to pick it, but didn't go your way.
Stupid Cowboys. The Cowboys. How do you go and lose to the Commanders? Really? The Redskins are going to go there and lose? They're a terrible team. Terrible. They've been terrible all year. How do you lose to them? It's because you're a bunch of losers, Cowboys. That's why.
Did they get an F?
They get an F.
They get an F. There you go. If you're a Cowboys fan and you picked them, you get an F.
You get an F. They should have mopped the floor with the Commanders. They had an excellent game against the Eagles the week before. The defense did allow a lot of points, but the offense scored a lot of points. Yep. What's your excuse for going up against the Commanders? Dude, come on. That game right there, that was an F. for the Cowboys. That was my surprise pick of the week.
My surprise pick for the week that was a no-brainer for me was the Packers. I thought the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and that defense was rolling. They went into Miami last week. They balled out. They took care of the football. Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers, and they decided to lay a dud.
It was a dud.
It was, but here's the flip side coin to it. And yes, I do get the F. He gets the F. So with that, in the grammar scheme of things, and the way I looked at it, well, it's Dan Campbell saved his job. He gave the Detroit a winning season finally. So just as long as they don't pick his offensive coordinator, I think Jared Goff and that team is moving in the right direction. Whatever Dan Campbell told that team, it resonated with them, and they had nothing to play for. Nothing.
Yeah, they did surprise me. I did also pick the Packers in that game as well because I thought it was a no-brainer on that one. But obviously, Aaron Rodgers, you get an F.
Aaron Rodgers, you get an F. Somebody knows Aaron Rodgers out there. Tell him he got an F.
Tell him Frank gave him an F.
Tell him Frank gave him an F.
He has no idea who I am, but maybe he will one day. He'll be
one
like,
day.
Man, that dude roasted me. Why did he give me an F for, man?
Right? For real. So let's bring up this highly anticipated, as they're calling it, super wild card weekend is what everyone in the media is talking about.
Whoa. Before you even pull that out, we didn't tell everyone how we ended up with our picks last week. I know you were trying to quickly escape out of that, but let's go ahead and talk about how we ended up doing in our matchups last week.
So to sum it up, if you're going to listen to the picks this week, you might want to listen to that guy over there, that guy right there that went 11-3.
Nope.
12-3. 12-3. Sorry. Not
that went away from me.
Yeah. 12-3. 12-3, you guys. That guy. So he won this week. I went 7-8. I almost looked like the Tennessee Titans record there. Not good.
And if you have a little bit of money that you're out there, you want to put a little bit of money, you got a little bit of spare money to put out there in a gambling thing. You know how people like to bet on things. Put it all on Buffalo. Only if you have extra money, though. Don't be going betting your life savings and your house and then want to get mad at me and say, that dude on the internet told me to pick Buffalo all the way. Don't do that. Yes. Don't do that. Only if you have a couple extra bucks lying around that you could afford to maybe gamble with. Okay. Yeah, that dude on the internet was right. Maybe some money.
Disclaimer. There we go.
Don't come at me if I cost you money, though.
Yeah. No. Now, if you don't and he wins a bunch, then yeah, definitely yes. So the national media, as I keep up with it throughout the week, everyone's calling this super card or super wild card weekend. And people are like, oh, why is it super wild card weekend? Well, if you think about it, this playoff is a lot different than what we've traditionally been able to see in times past. You have a lot of up-and-coming riser quarterbacks. You have Geno Smith, which everybody wrote off when he got drafted. Okay?
I wrote him off.
I did too. There's a lot of storyline
for that too.
Yeah, we get that. So if you think about it, like it's unorthodox. You don't have Aaron Rodgers in there. You don't have the Rams. You don't have the defending Super Bowl champions, which is weird in a way. So, what's your thoughts from?
I wouldn't say weird that the Super Bowl defending champions aren't in it. There's a history that you can point to that shows that sometimes when you win the Super Bowl, you don't always go back to the playoffs even. So it doesn't surprise me that they're not there, especially the way they built that team. That team was only meant to win a championship for that year.
So only one?
Yeah, I don't see them winning another one.
Okay.
Not anytime in the future, at least. Not anytime in the next 5 years. I don't see them winning a Super Bowl. It was definitely Matt Stafford going there was for a Super Bowl only. That's what it was. That's what it was designed to do. The Lions are going to be better because of that trade down the road. So yeah, they put all their eggs in the basket because they wanted that championship because they had the new stadium. They had to get people fired up for the Rams, and they did it. They won. Kudos to them, but they mortgaged the future moving forward because of it. So,
okay, that's a good way to put it. So let's bring up and let's really dive into these teams and let's see and let's play this game.
Okay. Throw it up on the screen then. Bam.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
Alrighty, here we go.
Where's Super Bowl being held this year anyway? Nevada?
Don't get me to lie. Let me go double check on the interwebs really quick. But as I check on the interwebs,
it looks like it's Nevada based off the artwork on the Super Bowl thing here.
I mean, actually, I usually know off the top of my head. So as I'm looking for this real quick, you guys.
All right, so we're going to tackle the NFC first.
Okay.
And we'll tackle that side of the brackets first. We'll talk about each of these games that we have coming up, and we'll obviously start with the first one down here at the bottom. We'll start at the bottoms and work our way to the top, and vice versa.
Okay.
All right. So the first game on tap that we're going to talk about here is the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks.
It's in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay. Thank you. Cool. Arizona.
So I shouldn't do that before I came on. I apologize, Internet. I'm not really focused on Super Bowl yet.
So the first game that we're talking about is the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks in San Francisco.
Correct. So if I look at this, Kyle Shanahan's on a mission. He needs to go back to Super Bowl because he lost against Patrick Mahomes. And that team's just
a game they should have won too. They were up in that game and they got soft with the defense. That was they started playing a little bit of a prevent defense against Mahomes, and it cost them that Super Bowl. They had it. They had that Super Bowl, but we're not talking about Super Bowl pass. We're talking about this year's playoffs. We're talking about the 49ers and Seahawks in round one. So what's your take? What you think?
Man, it's a rematch from when San Francisco actually won the division against Seattle. I think it's I don't think it's gonna be. Man, it's not gonna be a close game. Kyle Shanahan's on a mission. That defense, yeah, Niners. I'm down with the Niners. Even though I'm rooting for Geno Smith, just because he should win comeback player of the year. I just think it's a good storyline, and just due to the fact because of Seattle trading Russell Wilson, and now Seattle has the third pick in the draft this year. So they are. So just for food for thought for everyone, Geno Smith is currently in talks with the Seahawks on a contract extension currently right now. So I think he'll come back next year, but I think all in all, I think San Francisco gets this. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, typically it is a very difficult matchup when you see the same team 3 times in the same season. And that's what we're seeing here. Seahawks and 49ers, obviously division rivals. And the advantage I will give the 49ers in this matchup is it's at home. They got home field in this matchup. And Purdy's been playing very well within the offense. And the defense, of course, has been lights out. And so for those 3 things, I believe the 49ers will win a close but dominant game.
And I think this kind of like reminds me a little bit of the Tom Brady and Drew Brees when they played 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So this might come down to maybe some like making like a key play.
Yeah, and we saw Purdy. Purdy was clutch against the Raiders in that matchup 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
so there seems to be a clutch. He doesn't seem to allow the moment to become bigger than he is. So that's a good trait to have in your quarterback that won't shy away from making that throw or shy away from making that decision. So that's a good trait that we've seen with Purdy with the 49ers. And because of that, again, it's going to be a close but dominant game for 49ers. 49ers win by 6.
Okay, 49ers win by 6. They hear it from Let's Be Frank. I remember he went 12-3 last week, so listen to his picks, you guys. So our next one's going to be Giants and the Vikings.
Oof. Oh man, I'll give my thoughts first on this one since we started on the last one. All right, so we got the Vikings who have been kind of lackluster the last couple weeks, coming down the home stretch here, and even though they have a home game here against the Giants, don't sleep on the Giants. They have a history of being a road warrior team in the playoffs. So, with a couple with what seems for the Vikings on a downward trend, I see the Giants taking advantage of this, and this will be our first home upset of the playoffs. I got the Giants going to Minnesota and beating them by double digits. They will shock you. They will win by 13.
It's funny you say that because I think who's the advantage is the Giants due to the fact that they're not having to play in the cold and they're playing in a dome.
Yep.
And Saquon Barkley, that's the best thing they have, which is a solid running game. And when they're able to keep them off the field, and then no one's still talking about Justin Jefferson issue of him assaulting the referee with his helmet and losing his mind. So we know that team can't keep us cool. So when we say that, I mean, you never know. The NFL can get cute and decide to suspend them tomorrow for Saturday or Sunday's game. You know what I'm saying? So regardless or not, I'm going to go with the Giants with that coaching staff and what they've done with Jones and Saquon Barkley. It's very rare that we have seen so many teams out of the NFC in the same division make it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Giants are going to take this one by far. You guys let us know down in the comments on what you guys think on these past two picks that we didn't talked about on the Giants and the Vikings, but then also San Francisco and the Seattle Seahawks. So here is your game of the week, Frank. This is your game of the week, which is the Dallas Cowboys against I Am Legend Brady.
I have the Buccaneers in this. The lesser of the two worst teams in the playoffs on the NFC side. I have the Buccaneers beating the Cowboys. Cowboys are on a absolute terrible back half of the season slide right now. They've been terrible the second half of the season. The Bucs have not been much better. However, Tom Brady in Tampa against a struggling Dallas Cowboy team that lost to the Commanders last week. I'm taking Tom Brady all day in this situation. I think Tom Brady will end up having a mediocre game. It's not going to be anything flashy, but it's going to be enough for them to win. They win by 7.
Okay. And here, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I would feel offended having a better record than the Bucs and having to go play the Bucs in Tampa. Like that's first off. And then earlier today, Micah Parsons cashed a check that I hope his team can cash because he was like, F that Pro Bowl list because we're going to be playing in the Super Bowl is what he said. So, Dallas Cowboy fans, I hope your boy's right because I don't think they're going to beat Tom Brady.
Yeah. So you definitely have the Bucs over the Cowboys as well, then.
Yep. So we go.
So Jerry Jones once again has bought a team that will have another first round exit in the playoffs. Congratulations, Jerry Jones. Congratulations on being such a stellar GM that you can't even get out of the first round of the playoffs and haven't sniffed a Super Bowl since the 1990s, where you can only watch them on videotape on VHS, where they don't even sell that stuff in electronic stores anymore. Congratulations, Jerry. What a bang up job.
All righty. So then we have Tom Brady versus Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, well, we'll cover that next week. Let's not get ahead. We gave our playoff picture last week. If you did not tune in to last week's show, we gave
go back
our playoff picture of how it looks, and maybe Jive Turkey will go ahead and put that on the community tab. What we think is going to who the final matchup is going to be in the NFL playoffs from last week. Maybe he'll do that for us.
All right,
on his channel. But yeah, so if you want to go back and see how we have everything playing out, you can go check it out. It might be a little different based off our picks today. That's because obviously we have a little bit more information this week than we did last week. So, but anyway, go ahead. I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good. Let's be frank. So let's go with my game of the week that starts on Saturday. So I'm going to be busy on the Twitter getting after it.
Evelyn Bill. Yeah. How about those Buffalo Bills? Josh Allen, get the table. The Bill Mafia is coming.
Everyone Bills like, how about them Bills?
We'll get to that matchup here soon.
Yes. So let's go with my game of the week, which I'm going to be super busy on Saturday, which is my Jacksonville Jaguars versus Justin Herbert. And this is a rematch from week 3. I am emotionally invested in this game. All right. First off, you guys, emotionally invested. As everyone that has known me for a long time knows, I'm a diehard Jacksonville Jaguar fan. We have a lot of rough times playing the Chargers. We haven't had any luck. This is the first year we've actually had luck going to the West Coast and playing on the West Coast and winning. I believe this season has shown how good coaching is when it comes to your team and how good is your coaching staff to the team. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville squeezing out a last-minute late drive and winning against Justin Herbert and his team by one touchdown.
All right, so you're going to give him a spread of 1 touchdown, huh?
Yep.
All right. Based off of what I've watched and have, because I got into this late this year when we started this streaming with together. I'm pretty late in the season getting my information and trying to get caught up with everything, so that way I have something to talk about. I don't look like I have no idea what I'm talking about. Based on what I've noticed the last few weeks with Jacksonville, they're the team to be in the AFC. I still stand by my prediction of the Bills coming out, but the Jaguars are going to be right there. The Jaguars will win Saturday against the Chargers. It will be a very tough defensive game, and it's going to come down to your quarterback's spacing on my
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. It's going to come down to Trevor Lawrence to ensure that they get into field goal range in order to win this game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. The Jaguars win by 3.
Now it's crazy to say that, because if you look at my timeline on Twitter last weekend, and I'm like, hey, I need a defensive stop, and we got to take it back to the house if we're gonna take an interception. And by golly, they did. And I was like, oh my God, we did it. And so then we have Jacksonville as another rematch against Kansas City, as they did early in the season before they took off. Yep. So that would actually be a very interesting match. I don't want to get too much into it, but I think it'd be like almost a redemption for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you followed us 2 weeks ago when we laid out the path, I had the Bills and Jaguars in the championship game.
Yep. So let's go next to Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. That's needing a contract, but I think that contract is what's playing that team more than anything. And not counting, they just gave their linebacker, as you saw yesterday, or on Monday, excuse me. Tuesday.
Yeah. I will start this one off for us, and I'll let you start the next one off for us.
Yeah, go ahead.
This one will be the most unsurprising game of this weekend. The Bengals will dominate the Baltimore Ravens. It will be a double-digit win, at least by 14 points. Bengals riding this out. It's not going to be close from the get-go. They will open up an early lead, and they will hold on to it throughout the entire game. Bengals over the Ravens, because the Ravens just have too many distractions happening right now. They can't focus on the playoffs. They can't focus on the game. They will lose. Bengals move on to the next round.
Okay. I 100% concur with you on that. I think Joe Burrow's on a mission. I think you see it. You've seen it all season. And I think you can tell by the laser focusedness he has when he talked about when they played Tom Brady just 2 weeks ago. And he was like, yeah, I'm not worried about that. Like he's not worried about nobody else across that field except his team and what they do. And the fact that even though the issues that they had last week with Damar Hamlin and how Joe Burrow was able to easily stead that team and T. Higgins and keep everybody in the know and like, hey, man, we're going to be all right. I think they're going to just roll straight through it. I think Joe Burrow sits from third quarter on.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you got him, them let him get some rest. Wow, that's going to be a real blowout game then. All right.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to the last game of the AFC side over here that we're talking about, and is the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And this one is actually going to be being played at a neutral field in Atlanta. So the Bills will not have this as a home game. However, we were discussing off air that I believe that the Bills Mafia will show up. It's going to be predominantly Buffalo fans or Buffalo people or people that are rooting for Buffalo. And this is how I've come to this conclusion, is because of the Damar Hamlin storyline. This whole thing has captivated beyond just sports. It's been talked about across all spectrums of culture right now. It's been one of the biggest stories based off of what happened on the field and then his recovery so far, that he's been released from the hospital. So there's been a lot of good things happening with him. And because of that, it's fueling the Buffalo Bills as a team, organization, and fan base to be behind this team. I don't see anybody matching the emotional power that they're going to be displaying over the next few weeks as they make a run through the playoffs. They're going to be using this Damar Hamlin as the catalyst for that. Even if it's at a neutral site, it won't matter. Go ahead, Buffalo fans, cue up the squish the fish parties, because the Buffalo Bills will dominate, beat them by over 14 points. Get it ready. Bring home the wagons. Let's do it. Buffalo Bills all the way this weekend.
I can sit there, but before I get my prediction real quick on this, I want to highlight Ivan real quick. Ivan said Bengals and 49ers, and we'll discuss that, Ivan, in a few minutes after we go ahead and talk about this portion here. If you guys have your assumptions on who they are, go ahead and put them in the chat so we can go to highlight them and we can discuss a couple of them this week as we get ready to move on. I'm going to say that this is the boring game of the week right here. Out of all the games of this weekend, this game right here, and I think, let's be frank, is 100% correct. It's going to be a blowout. Give Miami's defense by like middle of second quarter, they're going to be exhausted. They're going to be tired. They're not going to be ready to roll. And on top of that, Tua is ruled out for this game as well, too. Yeah. Tua is ruled out officially. He's not going to play.
Even if he was in it, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Not right now. Right. Right in a timeline that we are in right now, it would not have mattered even if he started and played. It does not matter. The Buffalo Bills are circling the wagon. They are going to, and I hate the Buffalo Bills. I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, but I recognize when a team is hot and they're going to take it all away because they don't have a bye week. And so there is no time for them to sit around and think about whatever. They're focused on the very next game. See, people like Kansas City and Eagles, they got to wait and figure out who we might be playing, and they got distractions that could happen. Not the Buffalo Bills. No, they're going to be chugging all the way through. So look out. It will be a exciting game because of the storyline, but as far as any type of drama, I won't see that in this game. It's going to be a blowout.
Okay, so out of all the games that you just reviewed, which is the game that you will not watch because you know it's going to be a blowout?
If I had to not watch any of these games, I probably won't end up watching many anyway. I'm just so busy. I'll do my best to keep up as much as I can. But the games I would probably skip out on would probably be the Bengals and Ravens, and probably the Cowboys and Bucks.
Yeah, Cowboys and Bucks. I can almost concur with you, and the only reason why is because if Tom Brady gets like if him and Mike Evans get those 2 TDs rolling, like it could be a blowout, and you don't want to give Tom Brady that. You really don't.
Kyle says Frank loves the Bills. I saw his Bills jersey.
Well, Kyle, maybe you know him better than I do, because I know I don't think I've ever seen a Bills jersey on him ever in my life.
And the only reason I would want to possibly watch the Bucs game is only because Tom Brady's playing, and I don't know if this is going to be his last year or not. So that's kind of the drama that's unfolding on the NFC side. If there's a storyline to follow on the NFC, is this Brady's last run? Can he reach the Super Bowl? Is the greatness of Tom Brady over? So that's kind of the storyline there. So I would be following that storyline if I was following over on the NFC right now. Can the Buccaneers with Tom Brady get back to the Super Bowl? And that would be that would be a storyline to watch. So I would watch that storyline unfold. I still think it's going to be the 49ers or the Buccaneers coming out of the NFC, but they definitely will both be playing in the NFC Championship game. That's my prediction on that. I made that prediction last couple weeks ago.
Okay. So as we look at all these, I'm gonna pull up Ivan's pick real quick, right? And let's just spitball for a second, okay?
Okay.
So Ivan says the Bengals and 49ers. Okay. So we look at it mathematically, right? You have the Bengals and Buffalo going back to a neutral site to play again. So Buffalo's on that neutral site, right? So it doesn't affect the Bills whatsoever. And I think it affects Joe Burrow a little more because he's not at home. And he's like, well, what am I really playing for?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's all going to depend on who comes out of that Jacksonville, and I'm going to say Kansas City because that's just how I am, out of that team there. So if Joe Burrow does it, I think it hurts Josh Allen's, and I think they blow up the team if they make it to the Super Bowl again. Your thoughts on that?
That the Bills blow up the team?
Yeah.
If they don't make it.
Yep.
To the Super Bowl. No, I don't see them blowing up the team. Even though I know they had the AFC Championship last year, they fell short. They had a good playoff run the year before that. I think they're right there. You don't blow it up when you're this close. You look to add additional pieces that you might be missing. So I don't see them blowing up that Buffalo team. But the Bengals being able to get there, I think the Bengals have much more hurdles to get there than the 49ers do getting to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I believe there's too many hurdles for Joe Burrow to get his team over in order to get into the championships versus what the 49ers and Purdy and Shanahan have to do with that 49ers stout defense. So I see the 49ers. I envision the 49ers there more so than I would envision the Bengals there.
Okay. That's a good one.
Coming from the Bengals fan who lost the 49ers. Yeah, they lost that was 1988 when they last matched up together in the Super Bowl, I believe. Joe Montana with that famous 88-yard drive to win the game. Right?
Yes, because that's where Joe Montana goes like, hey, isn't that John Candy up there?
Yep. He's in the huddle.
Yes.
Yep. Joe Cool, baby.
Wow. That is no, I was too young. I was only, a wee when that happened. I mean, I was, only reason why I know is because of the movie Draft Day. Yeah, they actually talk about that in particular.
I like that movie. That's actually a pretty decent movie.
Yeah. I think it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies, actually, which is kind of weird. All right. So
I actually like Moneyball more than I like Draft Day.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Draft Day was
good, but I think Moneyball was better.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, go ahead. We're not talking movies here. We're talking movies.
All right. I want to highlight a couple stories that I've kind of hit on my channel that has gotten a lot of traction. A lot of people talking about it. I know everyone is tracking the Derek Carr situation, right? Derek Carr obviously stepped away from the team because the coach benched him. He's owed $40 million 3 days after the Super Bowl. 3 days after the Super Bowl, he's awarded that. They're saying it's better for him to be cut so he can go choose his own team. Mm-hmm. But if they cut him, they don't get anything. Where would you want to see Derek Carr play?
Where would I want to see him play?
Yes.
Oh. That's a good question. Oh, no. Easy question. Rams.
Ooh. Only if Sean McVay's there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So he would replace.
He would be behind Matt Stafford, but Matt Stafford doesn't have much time left.
Okay. All right. Now here's a big one that's gotten a lot of traction.
Or Green Bay.
Really?
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have much time left either. These are some aging quarterbacks we're talking about. We have Brady, we have Stafford, we have dude from Green Bay. I just said I can't think of his name. Aaron Rodgers. We have these aging quarterbacks that are aging out of the league. They need somebody that's going to be able to step in and fill in and have a high ceiling or a ability to be able to carry a team. And I think Derek Carr could fill in any three of those teams, the Bucks, the Rams, and of course Green Bay. And I know those are all NFC teams. Why would the AFC Raiders want to trade him within the conference if they didn't have to?
Okay, here's the next one. I know it's really big.
Or even the Panthers.
That was speculated today on one of my threads I saw that he's in talks right now with the Panthers right now, but only if Steve Wilkes is there. I think if Steve Wilkes is there, I think Steve Wilkes deserves another shot at winning. I mean, he went 500. He was given a disaster of a team, and he brought it back to life, and they won their last game. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where Tom Brady's the other one. Tom Brady is not owed anything after this year, so he's a free agent again. Where does he go?
Man, there's been a lot of speculation of where he possibly would land. Some speculation was even San Francisco. I don't see that happening. The quarterback situation, I think, is pretty solid in San Fran with Purdy or I'm spacing on names tonight. The other quarterback that was injured earlier this year. They also had a drafted quarterback. They started Trey East or whatever his name was.
Yeah, you're talking about Garoppolo, right?
Yeah, Garoppolo, but the one that was starting.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance. Yeah, so they had Trey Lance. He got hurt, went down. Then Garoppolo stepped in, got some wins, got hurt. Now it's Purdy. I think the San Francisco quarterback situation is fine. What's going to be interesting is what happens in the offseason there. I see Garoppolo possibly exiting out of there. But with Brady, I don't see Brady ending up in San Francisco, even though there was some speculation that he might end up there because that's, of course, his one of his home favorite teams growing up as a kid, wanting to play for the 49ers. Where does he end up? He has to end up somewhere that's ready to win now.
What that's the only right now is ready to win. It doesn't have a premier quarterback at the helm.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Everyone says the Raiders because of Josh McDaniels. I just don't see it. Why would you go to the Raiders when you got to play Patrick Mahomes, you got to play Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
And it's speculation, like you talked about, possibly
Sean
Payton going there, or maybe even Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh to the Panthers. I already told you that.
Right, but understand, why would Tom Brady put himself in a division that is stacked against him?
I wouldn't. Yeah, if I was Tom Brady, I wouldn't want to go to the AFC, especially the AFC West. Does he make a reunion and come back to New England?
There is speculation. So what I saw on my YouTube channel
and retire as a Patriot.
I think there's too much bad blood. I don't think. Honestly, what I feel, and this is what I feel, and what I think, and what I see. I think he's really mad that he got turned down twice by Kyle Shanahan. You got turned down twice.
Kyle Shanahan,
San Francisco.
Kyle Shanahan's looking at the future, and as much as great things that Brady has done in his career, you can't build a team for longevity to protect a coaching job. If you want to be a coach long term, you have to look long term in ensuring that you're building a team that is going to provide you playoff appearances, so that way you don't get fired.
Right.
And by bringing Tom Brady in, yeah, you might get that excitement for that first year, but guess what? Then he decides to retire. And damn, you sat there and spent all that money or used all that capital to go get Brady. For what? For what? To struggle the next 3 years? No, I think Shanahan's Shanahan and Lynch is too smart to have gone down that road.
And I agree with you that because I don't think Kyle Shanahan would put up with what Tom Brady's doing right now, which is like changing plays. Last night, doing film study individually with the players and changing certain things. Kyle Shanahan would not put up with that at all.
Yeah. Maybe Josh McDaniels would though.
I mean, he's got to save his job first off.
Yeah. Very true.
All right, next one is Lamar Jackson. As we all know, he doesn't have a contract. Lamar Jackson does not have a contract, and the linebacker just got paid $100 million, $60 million of it guaranteed, which means now they have that franchise tag to say, hey, bro, you get this $40 million franchise tag, and we're not paying you right now. If it's Lamar Jackson, there's speculations, national media saying that they could possibly do a trade and go get Justin from the Bears and do like an even swap, essentially. Take Lamar to the Bears, and the Bears go get Justin, quarterback from the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it makes sense. I don't know why they would do that. I think Lamar, I think it's with the PCL injury and him being injured 2 years in a row and missing a substantial amount of games, I think the franchise doesn't want to put the risk out there and not get it in return. And I think they see the landscape of the AFC to notice that they can't win with Lamar, which is to win it, that they want to win a Super Bowl. But I think the franchise sees it, like you say, long term, and what the layout looks like currently right now, that they can't win a Super Bowl with Lamar with where the AFC is currently right now.
Yep, I tell you, he's going to get moved. I told you this is my prediction. I told you guys. I mentioned this a few weeks ago, when I think it was our very first show that we did together, that Jim Harbaugh is going to leave the Michigan Wolverines to be an NFL coach for the Carolina Panthers. Lamar Jackson will be sent to the Carolina Panthers. Brother versus brother, giving a brother a
token,
a break, and making that work. I see that happening. I still see that happening because Harbaugh wants that Super Bowl trophy. He does. He wants that so bad.
Because he doesn't have one and his brother does.
Right. So that's my prediction. I think that's where he goes. And I know there's still a lot of pieces that need to move to make that happen. But ultimately, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Lamar Jackson head to Carolina along with Jim Harbaugh. And it's going to be, and they're going to dominate the NFC South.
Okay. Now, let's look at long term right now. Okay. Let's look over the next couple of years. Okay. Are you on a Justin Herbert train?
No.
Why?
He plays in the toughest division in football. And I don't see them being able to consistently beat Patrick Mahomes or even a Russell Wilson once that team gets turned around. And I'm predicting they're going to get turned around next year. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be Broncos and Chiefs is what we're going to be talking about in the AFC West for the next 3 years.
Whoa. Really?
Yes. They're going to get Sean Payton. Sean Payton's going to run that offense with Russell Wilson, and it's going to remind you of what Drew Brees did under Sean Payton when everyone had given up on Drew Brees.
Man, I'm a Drew Brees fan. I love Drew Brees. I think just like the way Drew Brees was and how Sean Payton was, they meshed very well together.
They're small quarterbacks. Both of them are small quarterbacks.
Okay.
I'm telling you. He's going to end up there. Look out for the Broncos. The Broncos could be in the Super Bowl next year. And I don't even like Russell Wilson.
So
I don't like the Bills.
All right. So
But
you're saying the Bills are going to win this year.
Yep.
And Denver's going to win again next year.
Or make it to the Super Bowl at least. I don't think I'm going to say they're going to win, but they're going to make the Super Bowl. They are going to surprise everybody. I said this 3 weeks ago. The big surprise team of next year is going to be the Denver Broncos.
Only if they get Sean Payton.
Only if they get Sean Payton. If they don't get Sean Payton, I will see a turnaround for Russell Wilson, but it won't be as dramatic if it was under Sean Payton.
Okay. And with Sean Payton, as everyone's tracking, Sean Payton is out there. He's getting interviewed, but here's the bigger.
John Elway likes Sean Payton. Okay.
Now here's a dumpster fire of an organization right now, and I know you're tracking a little bit of it.
Texans?
No, Arizona.
They're a dumpster fire. I tried to apply. I tweeted them out, said I would manage for the league minimum. I didn't care.
You know what?
I guaranteed them that I could double their wins.
So all right. So I challenge anybody that's on right now and watching us. Go on LinkedIn and see if there's a GM job that's actually they're marketed on LinkedIn right now. Because if it is, put it down in the chat so we can look at it and see if we qualify. All right.
What qualifications do you need? You've had a lousy season. Dude, I can do better.
I
can
mean,
do better.
you did go 12-3.
I'm a winner.
So
go big or go home. That's my motto.
All right,
you don't like it? Get out of the way. I'm going to be that bull in the china shop. We ain't going to be messing around. We're going to make some moves. We're going to make some splashes. And, man, I'm going to be in the headlines. I'm going to be talking more than the coach. I'll be, like, running my mouth. I'll be like, yeah, that's right. The Cowboy team don't got nothing on us. And I'll be like, dude, you can't say that. You got to shut up. No, dude, here's an F for the Cowboys or whatever.
So speaking on that,
if anything, I would get the national spotlight on the team at least.
Just like Jerry Jones. You'd be next Jerry Jones.
You know, all the bad press is good press.
Hey, press is press the way I look at it. You're talking about me, right?
Come and hire me.
I'm available.
Yeah.
But all right, who do you think? Do you
just a company car? If you throw in a company car, the deal will be iced. Anyway,
okay. All right. So we'll talk about Arizona real quick. All right. You have no GM. You have no head coach. Kyler Murray is injured. Don't know when he's going to come back. Had major reconstruction ceremony.
Yo, might be wrong is in. Hey, man.
I might be wrong. What team do you think, or what coach do you think would go coach Kyler Murray due to the fact of what he did to his own coach, Cliff Kingsbury?
What coach could we have hired for the Arizona Cardinals? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
What coach should be hired?
Yes. Now, hold on, wait. Here's a disclaimer, though. Kyler Murray, the ownership has said it. They will give him influence on who he wants to bring in.
Yeah, that's terrible. I would not have given him that much power, because that could be a train wreck. I mean, look what happens when you involve players in and bring in talent, or even trying to dictate who the coach is. It never ends up very well. I mean, prime example, you could look at the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James, who sat there and tweeted out he was complaining about they didn't put enough talent around him to win, when he was the one that was the influential reason why they went out and got who they got and traded away who they traded away to appease LeBron. So then he went back and retracted what he had said. But we knew that's how he behaves.
I like what your man might be right said.
Kyle Murray's a cancer, crazy talented, but oof, yeah, that's the same thing as Deshaun Watson, man. Same thing as Deshaun Watson, just amazing talent, but man.
So I did a piece on Deshaun Watson, and hear me out here, and it might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, or give us some thought. I think he might come down as the biggest overpaid bust of guaranteed money.
Then who?
Look at his division first off. You have the Steelers, Baltimore, the Browns.
Well, he plays for the Browns.
Yeah,
there's 4 teams, right?
Yeah, 4 teams.
Where's the other team?
Who's the other team?
Who's the other AFC North team?
Somebody tell us if you know the other AFC team downstairs, because I gotta Google real quick.
Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals.
Yeah, and you gave them $250 million fully guaranteed, and you're telling me he's gonna bring you a Super Bowl, and you got to make it to Joe Burrow?
Yeah. Now the Browns are they are the losers. They're the losers. They're never going to win a Super Bowl under the current. They need to go get Kevin Costner to go ahead and manage this team, because that's what they need going on.
So you're gonna pull from Yellowstone?
Pull from Yellowstone. He did a bang up job on draft day. I see him doing a great job managing the Browns, much better than what we have going on right now. Because, I don't see him leading them to a Super Bowl. I just don't. He's selfish. He's self-centered. And that's what's wrong with a lot of these athletes, that they look at themselves first. I know that's how you have to look at stuff sometimes, especially in the game that you play, that you could be injured and out forever. However, but look at the players who are willing to sacrifice a payday in order to get a team prepared to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's who I want to play with. They should have stuck with Baker Mayfield. Absolutely correct. Baker Mayfield. Where's Baker at right now? Did he go to the Rams?
He went to the Rams.
Yeah. How did he end up with the Rams? How did he finish off with the Rams?
He went one for 3.
1 for 3. Yeah. I was a big Baker Mayfield fan. I thought that was a great choice for the Browns. I thought they gave up on him too early. I don't think they put the right coaching staff around him. And
I think coaching staff is what it is.
And that's what hurts a lot of young quarterbacks a lot of times. We talked about this with your quarterback last week.
Lawrence.
And we go back and you can look at other quarterbacks. Alex Smith, for me, he had like 5 different coordinators every year. Then he got injured. And I remember the head coach for them, I can't think of his name at the moment.
Singletary.
Nope, no, it wasn't Singletary. It was the coach before Singletary, Mike Nolan.
Okay.
Mike Nolan questioned his toughness after he suffered that shoulder injury. And he rushed himself back because he didn't want to be viewed as weak to Mike Nolan. And then he re-injured that and was out for the season and then had issues with that shoulder the rest of his career. And then the constant turnover of head coach and coordinator was very detrimental to his growth. We didn't see him to actually start blooming until he got to play under Jim Harbaugh, and then he got to play under Andy Reid. We saw what you could do with an Alex Smith. Alex Smith then, at that point in his career, was already on the tail end of his career, but yet he was able to get to the 49ers to the NFC Championship twice in a row. And then he was able to get the Chiefs into the playoffs as well. And so because of good coaching and people that are not toxic around you, you can really grow these players. And unfortunately, sometimes what we have is a bad combination sometimes of a toxic player and toxic coaching staff. And then you see the bust happen. You see the players who give up or the coaching staff that gives up on them too early and they never end up developing them because it all becomes about the payday for some of these players. Where some of these other players, again, I'm just going to reference Alex Smith just because I followed that one way more closely than I've done other quarterbacks, is that he tried to be that team player. He tried to be that team leader that they wanted him to be. And I thought he would have been fantastic, but the offense they put him in, and then again, the turnovers of offensive coordinators, it was just not a good thing. And that's what's happening to a lot of these young quarterbacks, people like Baker Mayfield and others.
And I agree with you on that. And I was listening to, some of the large media that I do listen to, and they're like, oh, and I'm going to use my team for an example, how we're supposedly ahead of schedule and we should be happy for where we're at. No, that's what happens when you get good coaching and you have an adult. And I've been echoing this all season. When you have an adult at the table and people understand that, hey, there is one message and one message only, which is that head coach on what he says and holds his team accountable to what they say in the media and what the media says to his team.
Mm-hmm.
How do you somehow turn around the worst team in franchise and in the NFL that everyone jokes about to a playoff? They are in the playoffs, won their division, and everyone is talking about Trevor Lawrence being one of the best players currently right now since week 9.
Mm-hmm. You get that because you get solid coaching and someone that understands and has a structure. And that's why, we've seen the Bill Belichick's have been successful because of the structure they're able to instill in their organizations. And that's what it takes because you're coaching adult men. A lot of times man boys in some instances, especially some of them coming out of college, are man boys or boy.
Justin Jefferson. No, you said it right. Man boys. Just like what Tony Dungy said, we need fathers. Because when you don't have fathers and you don't have things like that, those are the type of meltdowns you have.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson lost his emotion.
Yeah, unable
and
to
decided
control
to take
your
his helmet off and hit someone.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Or during the Packers and Detroit game, the Packers defensive guy shoved a staff member from Detroit that was trying to help a player from being injured.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen over this past year where players have lost their mind and lost their emotions or uncontrolled emotions and have acted recklessly.
Yeah, and you see it, from, you can look at week to week, and you can pick out a game or a time, and you can see that happen on the field. These men unable to control their own emotions because they didn't have a father or even a role model that would be a father figure in their life that allowed them to go, not be able to, understand how to control that emotion. It's something that I talk with my son a lot. All the time, because we play, he plays different sports. He plays golf, and he plays basketball, and he plays track. And all those three sports require a different level of control of emotion. Golf, for example, you can't let your emotion get the better of you. You can't allow anger or for you to start thinking bad thoughts, because you're not going to do well at your next tee off, your next tee shot, or your next iron shot, or your chip or your putt. It's going to impact your game. You can't play that game with that type of emotion. You can play the game of basketball with raw emotion, going to the basket hard, playing hard, but not to the point where you lose control of that emotion. And then, of course, in the track, the emotion that he has to run with is that patient emotion, because he has to run a certain distance. So you can't use all of that at the very beginning of your run. You got to save it for the very end, but still be able to have a pace that is strong enough to stay ahead or keep in competitive. Give me 1 second.
Yep. So as we wait on Frank there, and as we get ready to wrap this up, hey, make sure to go check us out on YouTube at Jive Turkey 65, or you can see my my content and my tweets at JJ Got Mine 2004. You can see Frank at Let's Be Frank, and then he does have Let's Be Frank Culture as well. Let us know down in the community tab, on my community tab. Let me know who your picks are going to be for this weekend, and then what team do you think is going to make it advance to the next round. And then I have a follow-up question for you guys. Where do you think Sean Payton's going to go, and where do you think Lamar Jackson's going to go? Remember to hit that on the community tab. Let us know where that's going to be at. If you got picks, let us know who your picks are, so we can highlight your picks. Now, we are serious. We will highlight your picks and either make fun of you, or we might actually be like, hey, he knows what he or she's talking about. All right? So I challenge you guys to find your friends, your family, and yourself, and put them on that community tab. Hit that subscribe button. And yes, I will highlight you next week. And me and Let's Be Frank are going to either make fun of you or be like, hey, they actually know what they're talking about. So I just wanted to give some intermedio. But so Frank, as we get ready to wrap this up these next couple minutes here, is there anything in the NFL that's really impressed you think, over the past season?
Well, again, I've just been watching for the last few weeks, catching back up. So I can only speak of what I've watched, and what I've watched so far. What's impressed me is the play of the Jaguars. Jaguars have impressed me, what they've been able to do, late season focus and turnaround, and figuring out who they are. Another surprise thing for me so far was the Buffalo Bills storyline. I told you about that one already. I've talked about that quite to an extent. And Evelyn Bell says, so Frank, you're not a Buffalo Bills fan? I am not a Bills fan per se, but I recognize when I see a team that's on fire, and they're on fire right now, they're going to win it all this year. And congratulations if you are a Bills fan, because you will be celebrating with the Bills Mafia. And that fan base is wild.
Yes.
And just to touch on Might Be Wrong's point, he said, yeah, the NFL and even NCAA are allowing players to go unpunished for their unsportsmanlike conduct. They got to get this under control if this game is going to survive for the next couple decades. If not, if they can't get these players under control, get their emotions under control, and things like that, and be able to hold these players accountable, it's going to be tough. I know it's a tough thing for the coaches and referees and the league to do, something that should have been taught to them as children. However, this is where we're at. This is why, a lot of coaches will, or scout teams sometimes passes on players if there is character issues, because they know it could cost them in the long run versus the short run. And sometimes it just takes a good mentor coach to really bring a player under control. And you see that with some of the better coaches in sports, like a Phil Jackson, for example, was able to learn how to control.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman was a classic example. Dennis Rodman talked about that quite extensively in The Last Dance, and talked about how Phil Jackson was a good mentor for him where he was at, and helped understood who Dennis was and how to get the most out of Dennis and stuff like that. But yeah, no. So far, the NFL big surprise for me was how well the 49ers have played this year, and not seeing a significant drop off from their Super Bowl time when they made the Super Bowl back in 2020. So not a big down, and what we see was a kind of a dip, and now a backup on the thing again. That's what you want to see as a franchise. So yeah, a big surprise for me there. And of course, the emergence of the Bengals as not a one-time fluke. I thought for sure that they were going to fade out this year, and I was incorrect about that. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. I look forward to this weekend games, and I'm going to see how I do this weekend in my picks.
So
hopefully, I'll have to hand out too many of these for myself next week.
These ads. Hey, you know what we got to do? We got to as we start to grow this, I think that F really catches on, and I think we should do something with that later down the road. So I'm going to give you my
out there. Go and play it out there.
All right, I'm going to give you my two, and I'm going to leave you guys with this as we wrap up. All right. As we all know, J.J. Watt retired this past weekend, and I was just finished up watching up mid-season on HBO Max. And I think what really stuck out with me with J.J. Watt was the fact of making an impact, but making a lasting impact on, he wanted everybody to take something from him. And I think that's what we miss sometimes is as fans and as people that watch the NFL. And that's why I love kind of watching the in-season NFL on HBO Max, is because you actually kind of get to see the players. But seeing J.J. Watt really made me appreciate the type of individual he is. He raised a lot of money when the hurricane hit in Texas. He was signed by Reebok. He did a lot of proceeds. Automated Fan of the Year, 3 times Defensive Player of the Year, 3 different times. And dropping in late just to say, go Chiefs. And it made me admire just the person he is. And it really stuck with me because I remember when he got drafted to Houston, terrorized my Jaguars, unfortunately. He was a baller, and he got to leave it all out on the field. And then secondly, I think might be wrong, is 100% correct. If the league doesn't get this punishment thing correct, and here's the crazy part. No one is talking about the Justin Jefferson hit. Nobody is.
Yeah.
What's going to happen during the playoffs if something like that happens then?
Because he's already shown that he can lose his cool. He can't control his temper.
Where do we draw the line?
Yep.
So those are my two things, you guys. J.J. Watt said it, leaving a lasting impact. And that's what I hope that me and let's be frank are doing here, are leaving an impact and showing you guys that, hey, it's only about sports, and that's all we want to talk about is just sports. All the other mess of what people want to talk about, BLM and all that just dumb stuff that nobody cares about. All right. I don't say people care about it, but us, all we want to talk about is in between the lines. That is it.
Yep. And I thought about it just now that you got me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Fs. I'm going to get a board, and I'm going to write down the F of who got the F, like the Dallas Cowboys. I can write Dallas Cowboys lost to the Bucks. They get an F. I can put it on the board, and every week we can look at the board and see who the Fs, where the Fs are. Right. So instead of like the player of the game, how they do the who got the star, the players know.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Fs here.
We're going to do the F.
We're going to show you who the biggest failures were of the week. Each week, if it's football, if it's basketball, if it's golf, we're going to put the biggest Fs on here, and we're going to put a board. I'm going to work on doing that next week, put together a board so we can do that.
You know what? As the playoffs start, you guys, okay, as the playoffs starts, all right, this is what we're going to do. All right, since this is Jive Turkey and this is my channel, and I love that my co-host is on here with me. All right, this is what I challenge you guys. By the Super Bowl, okay? So between your shares, your likes, and how many subscribers we get to the channel, all right, this is all out to you guys. You guys got me on Twitter. You guys got me on there. We're gonna raffle a $25 gift card to NFL Shop. All right.
Ooh,
whoever can bring the most subscribes, but also I challenge you guys to put your picks on the channel as well too. And whoever has the best picks and can predict all the way to the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl champion, we'll do that $25 gift card. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, sounds great. You said it. I'm not
Hey,
buying
it's like dinner. Hey, it's like dinner, right?
Just like dinner.
Just like dinner.
There was a poll out there on this has nothing to do with sports, but there was a poll out there. I retweeted it and it said, if you have a group of 20 people, should you split the check or what was the other? Split the check or ask for separate checks? And I retweeted. I said neither. Yeah, whoever put together a party pays.
Hey, it's like, hey, we're all adults here. It's like, it's like when your mom invites you to dinner. Yeah. Well, Mom, you're picking the tab up, right? Because you said, hey, I'm buying.
I got invited.
You invited me.
I was planning on going to bed.
Right, exactly.
So, I think the F's thing will be a fun thing to do. So
all
will be new to our segment. We'll do the weekly F's.
The weekly F's. And this will carry on, not just for NFL, but as we move on through
every sport that we cover. It'll be the weekly F's.
All right, and hey, I challenge you guys on the community tab. Hey, have your friends share, hit that subscribe button on Jive Turkey 65 on Twitter. Let's be frank. Hey, how can they find you again?
Oh, dude, they can find me everywhere. They can find me on Twitter, on YouTube, on every basically platform that there is right now. You can find me. Just type in Let's Be Frankie and you'll find my stuff. But where I want you to really go and check out, since you're here checking out sports, is Let's Be Frank Culture. It's where I get a chance to talk about entertainment and talk about the actors, talk about movies, talk about TV shows, and even, dabble in sports here and there, a little bit here and there because it's an entertainment umbrella. So I would love for you guys to go check out Let's Be Frank Culture. That's where what I'm trying to grow and trying to do a better job of presenting over there. It's a different way of presenting information in a funner way for myself. So it's something I'm getting used to or trying to learn to do better.
Awesome. Well, hey, you guys, this closes up our segment for today. I am Jive Turkey, your host. My co-host, as always, is Let's Be Frank. We appreciate everything everyone ever does for us. We thank you for your support. We thank you for you guys tuning in. We thank you for the subscribes, the likes, the comments, and everything. Like I said, this is a platform we're all building together with one like, one subscribe, one comment at a time, you guys. We appreciate it. Thanks, you guys. Bye, Frank.
Bye, everyone.